Hi, hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Active Directory. Like I said, my main reason for doing these videos is to get people into the field of um, first line support engineer. In that case, everything we have been doing from when I've started this video, from the first video which was installation of Windows to the last one that I did, which was NTFS and share permission. If you are following the video, you realize that everything we have been doing, we've been doing all the settings on one local computer, on a Windows 10 computer. This time around, if you are going to be working for an organization, you would need to be managing the total number of computers, the total number of users, printers, software application, and etc. that the company is having on one console. And that console where you are going to be managing everything is what we call the Active Directory. If you imagine that you are working for a company, one, you are going to have a username and password to log into the company's domain computers. You are also going to have in the company the applications that the company is using, different software applications. So going to different computers to install these application, going to one computer at a time to install this application will be tedious task to do. It's going to be tedious. So what we tend to do is have an Active Directory where you have all your users, where you have all your applications, where you have all your printers, and then you can then deploy it based on the company's rules and regulation, based on what the company's even folders. So then you are going to be controlling everything from one console. Let me try and get up my whiteboard here. If you have a laptop computer, if this is a laptop computer, laptop. If this is a laptop computer and this is a desktop computer, a desktop. Imagine that you are running Windows 10 on them. Windows 10 on them. Say you have 500 laptop computers and you have another 500 desktop computers. Obviously, desktop computers will be cabled to the network on the wall, But the laptop computers, what do we use them for? For mobility. So all these things, you can't be going to one staff at a time to manage them. You, as the administrator, you are going to have in your office what we call a server. And on this server, remember it's called a server because it's going to be serving all your objects. All your what? Objects. A laptop, remember you're going to have printers as well. You are going to have software applications as well. All of this your server is going to be serving them. And that's why all of these, your laptop, your desktop, your iPad, your printer, they are all called clients. So clients would need to go to the server in order to get whatever it needs to do. In order to get it done, a client would have to go to a server. Another example that I would like to say to us is you have a laptop computer at home, and I'm doing this on my laptop computer. If I need to go to Google, how do I do that? I will open my client application, which is Google Chrome on my laptop, and then type in Google. And then when I type in Google, then my client computer would need to look for the service of Google server that is closer to me. So Google has a server, where Google is hosting everything you want to check on Google. So Google has a lot of servers, you can imagine, in America, everywhere, all around the world. So they have servers all around the world. So you are going to be connecting to the closest server to you. So, and that's why this is a server, because it's going to be serving the request of clients. So Now, this is a type of server. That's what I want to mention. This is an IIS server, a server that has internet connectivity, that's hosting something on the internet, that's hosting information and whatever is it you want to call it. So it's called an IIS server. We have so many different servers. We have another one that we can call print server. Okay, so with a print server, if you have so many printers at work, yeah, your print server is going to be hosting all the printers. And then if anyone working in your company wants to print, when they are on their computer and they send something to the printer, what they send will first go to the print server. The print server will hold it depending on the policy you have. The print server will hold it for them, and when they get to the printer, they can then print it out. That's print server. We have also DHCP server. We have also DNS server. All these servers, they have what they do. They are independent. No, I can't say they are independent of one another. They are dependent on one another, depending on your organization. So what happened is, back in the days, we used to have all these servers physically. So if you are a company, what you are going to do is you are going to buy a print server, a physical print server. You are going to buy a DHCP server. You are going to buy Active Directory server. You are going to buy file server. You are going to buy DNS server. Okay, so look at how many servers you are going to be having. So that takes up space. Yeah, they take up space and they are costly, expensive. So nowadays what we have is we have what we call Hyper-V. So with Hyper-V, we have what we call Hyper-V. Hyper-V. So with Hyper-V, you can buy one server that has loads of storage, and you are going to install all of your 8 or the number of servers you need: DHCP, DNS, print server, file server, Active Directory server. You are then going to install all of them on this one server using hypervisor. So that's what I just want to explain about servers, and I would like to just jump in straight away to start our practical aspect of this. So before we go into the practical aspect of this, let me quickly, I just go to Google and search for what is Active Directory, and this is what I got. It says Active Directory AD is a database and set of services that connect users with the network resources they need to get their work done. The database or directory contains critical information about your environment, including what users and computers there are and who is allowed to do what. So with Active Directory, when you see the word object, is a database where objects are stored. And when you hear the word object, objects are users in your company, printers in your company, laptops in your company, desktop computers in your company. All those things and are objects. So Active Directory is a database that helps you. You can have a file server as well. So what Active Directory does is it helps you to manage your organization. In Active Directory, you would be able to say you have in your company, you have accounts department, you have sales department, you have IT department, you have finance department. With Active Directory, you are able to organize everyone working in, let's say you have 10 people working in account department. You are able to create an organization for them, organization unit for them, where you are just going to have everyone in this department. You are going to get another organization unit for this one, another organization unit for this one, another organizational unit for this one. Then you are able, because with Active Directory, say your accounting department, they use different application, so you are able to install an application and make sure that only account department have access to it. You are able to say this folder here, you don't want any other person to see it, any other department to see it apart from the or account department. Then let's say finance department, they have application also that they use. You want to give them a specific pointer, so you are able to control whatever anyone can see in your environment. Let's see, before we go on to the practical, what are the three main functions of Active Directory? So with Active Directory, you are going to be able to centralize resources and security administration. So with security administration, that means every user that wants to log into the computers, the laptops, the printers, anyone that will be able to use them would need to have a username and password. And for them to sign in, can use a single login for access to global resources. This is a very good point. So with Active Directory, your users only needs to have one username and password, and with that one username and password, they are able to use the printer. They don't need to log in again because they are in your Active Directory. They are able to access folders. They are able to access application. They are able to access everything you have in your organization because they have a username and a password for everything. Single sign-on, simplified resource location. So it is easy for you as an administrator to manage your environment. Let me see another thing that we can talk about before we go. Active Directory, Microsoft. Let me see what type. So Active Directory, no, this is talking about something else. Let me say another one that says 5 rules. No. These are things that are beyond what I'm teaching. So I'll just leave that. So for now, we know what Active Directory is. Now, let's go and start. Before you can install Active Directory, Active Directory is a role. R-O-L-E. Is a role on a server. So the first thing you want to do is to install a server. And I'm going to go through the process of installing a server now. I'm just going to quickly create my virtual machine. Let me name it. Let me hold this there. So now, if you see, this is a machine. And on this machine, there's nothing on it. On this computer, there's nothing on it. We are just going to install a server. So let me add my CD here. And this is my CD. You can see Windows Server Data Center. That's what I want to install. Now I'll click on Start. I'm not able. And now it's going on. Yeah. And this is the first page you are going to see when you are installing a server. When you are installing a server, this is what you're going to see. So English United States, I want to change this to English United Kingdom because I'm in the United Kingdom, and I'll do next. And then Windows Server 2016, that's the one I want to install. Go on Windows Server 2016, and then the setup is starting. So let's wait for it, and then yeah, it's already here. So when I'm going to install Windows Server 2016, there are 4 options I can pick from. There is Windows Server 2016 Data Center Evaluation, Desktop Experience. This is the one you want to pick, and this is how you are going to be installing servers anytime you need to install server. So it's the same step. So you are going to pick Data Center Desktop Experience because you want to have graphical user interface. If you pick the one that says Windows Server 2016 Data Center Evaluation, that you won't be able to manage it using a GUI. Is a core installation. But for what I want to have a server with a desktop experience so that I can manage it. And then there's a reason why you might want a core, but for now that's not what I want. For now I want to pick the desktop experience. So next, and now I'll accept the license. Of course you have to accept that. Next, and here is asking you, are you going to do an upgrade or a custom Windows? So I'm going to install a new one. When you want to install Windows afresh, server or client, you are picking custom. And then this is the drive C, where this is the whole total size of my drive, and I don't mind. I'm ready to put it there. I'll just go on there. Next, and then the installation have started. I'll pause this video, and when the installation completes, I'll come back. and the installation is coming to an end. You can see we are almost there. So let's just wait for it, and then we know this is what you're going to see when you are installing server. So you just have to wait for it, take your time and let it install itself. So, and we're going to be at the server desktop soon. So let's just wait for it. I'll pause this video again and then wait for when it comes back, then I'll come back here also. And after the installation has completed, we are still doing it because I'm just going to be logging in, creating a password like we would do if we are installing Windows 10. So here I'm going to pick my password. I'm going to choose my password, and this password is very important that you don't forget it, because if you do, you might not be able to get back into your server because it's an administrator password. So now that we are here, now I'm just going to log in with my administrator password that I've just created, and here we go. We are on Windows Server 2016. And how do we know the difference between Windows Server and Windows Client? We are going to see, just wait for this, and then we're going to move on. I'm just waiting for everything to be ready. You can see this tells us that's what I was still waiting for, Server Manager. So with this Server Manager, you are able to do a lot of things. So this is your console where you are going to be controlling, where you are going to be doing things. Okay, so this is a server, and you can see it says local server and all that. This is how a server looks like. So what we want to do after installing a server is that the main reason why we're doing this video, I'm doing this video, is to install Active Directory. And if you have a look at this, you can see tools. These are the tools you use to manage your server. Okay, so this is a standalone server for now. This is a standalone server. So in your environment, you might have up to 8 servers in your network, but for now, this is a standalone server. And you can see print management, performance monitor, and all that. And you can see local server, and then you can see this is the name of the server for now. So what you are going to do as an administrator is click here and change the name of your server. Okay, so I want the name of this server to be home DC2. Home DC2. DC2 simply means domain controller, because I know I'm going to be making this domain controller soon. So that's why I'm already naming it DC. I'll close that. But before restarting it, instead, I'm meant to restart it now, but I can hold that for now. And then what I want to do in this video is show you how do we install Active Directory on a server. So I'll click on Manage, go to Add Roles and Features, Add Roles and Features, and you can see Add Servers. So if in your environment, in your network, if you have more server, you can add them on this server I have here and be managing them from here. So you can manage more than this server. You can add, if you have more server, you add them and then start managing the servers from here. But for now, I just wanted to know that's there. This is where you remove roles and feature. But for now, we want to add role and feature. And then this is before you begin page. So we have this wizard. I'm just going to click next. When you are creating yours, you might want to read all those things. So what I'm doing is role-based or feature-based installation. Next. And then I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, this is the name of my server for now. Click on next, and here is asking me what roles do I want to install. This is where I need to choose what role I want to install, and these are all the roles you can have. So these are all the roles you can have on a server. You can have Active Directory, domain services. That's what I want for now. Actually, you can have Active Directory, so I'm going to click on it. Add features. You can have Active Directory certificate, a lot of them. DNS server, DHCP server, device health attestation, Hyper-V, name them, remote desktop services, web server. Yeah, if you want a web server, which I was explaining earlier. So there's a lot of them. But for now, what I want to do is to install Active Directory domain services. So I'm just going to click on that, say next. next, next, and then install. So the installation would start. You can see our installation is in progress now. So I'm going to pause this video, and when the installation completes, I'll come back. And now, as you can see, after some minutes, the installation has completed, and now I can close this, close it, and then you can see here I have a sign, and that sign is telling me that after my installation of Active Directory domain services role, I need to promote this server to a domain controller. This is when you need to promote this server to a domain controller, and I'm going to click on promote this server to a domain controller. And this is where you want to know what you're doing, because you have started the promoting this server. It was just a server, but now you've added a role, which is Active Directory Domain Services role, and you then need to configure that Active Directory Domain Services role. So when you're doing Active Directory Domain Services role, you can see the first option says add a domain controller to an existing domain. So if you have a domain already, you have a company, you have your domain already, then you can add one more domain controller. Why would you want to do that? So if you have so many users and you want to make sure that you don't have one point of failure. So if one of your domain controller goes down, the other one is working. Because in a situation where you have just one domain controller, if that domain controller goes down, goes off, for any reason goes off, doesn't have internet connectivity or whatever it is, then all your users in your company, all your staff will not be able to log in to their computer. Would not, your printers and everything, your folders, nothing would be working. So that's why you might want to install another domain controller. So add a new domain controller, add a new domain to an existing forest. That if you have a forest, but for us this is what we want, add a forest, because this is our first domain controller. That's what we have. So I'm just going to say my domain, root domain name is going to be anything I want. I'll just say aniftech.com. So you remember, as a company, you are going to have whatever website you're using, your domain name that you bought from GoDaddy or anywhere. That's what you're going to put here, and then you say next. And after saying next, you can see here it says select functional level of new forest and root domain. Here what it's trying to do is backward compatibility. If you have a server that is, this is 2016, you might have 2012, you might have 2008, so you need to make sure that they can work together. So for now we don't need that. I'm just going to set a password here for my domain again, so that if anything happens, this password I can use it to retrieve my domain. So it's called Directory Services Restore Mode. So if anything happens, if I remember this password, I'll be able to get back my thing. So a delegation, this we are going to explain this more. Let's go on next. And then this is the NetBIOS domain name. So you're going to see the name that we have given, the name aniftech.com. That's what we are going to see here now. Okay, so let's just wait for Aniftech. So next, wait for it, and then so this is telling you where your NTDS, your sysfo, where your database here. Your database, this is telling you where they will be saved. By default, they are in C Windows NTDS. These things you would understand more, but for now, you can just click on next, and then it's going to start its thing. You can see there is a problem now, and that's why it's showing me a red. Can you see? This is a problem. Normally, I'm expecting it to show a yellow warning sign, but for now, it's showing red. And if you see, it actually wants me to restart my computer, I think. So what I'm going to do is cancel this, yes, and then I'll just quickly do a restart, continue, and then let's wait for this to come back. Do a quick restart. That's a problem trying to install my domain, so I'll just leave that like that. Save this, connect here. So let me log back in and then go back in with my password, and then we are going to go back to what we were doing. We need to promote this server to a domain controller. So server manager is loading, we need to wait, and server manager is here, and then I need to just go back to what I was doing. Actually, ADDS has been promoted, this server at ADDS has been installed for me. Can you see that? After just a restart, everything got installed. So I knew it was only asking me for a restart when I saw that the last time. Let me see. I've promoted it already. Let me see that I promoted it already, so I don't need this no more. Are you sure? Yes. Because how do I know that ADDS has been installed? You can see when it was just a server, I didn't have all these Active Directory Administrative Center. So this is what we are trying to do. And now that we have promoted this to Active Directory, and what we can do is configure, get our server ready with initial configuration, and that's going to be in another video. But I just want to show you two Active Directory users and computers. Okay, and you can see actually my Active Directory is not ready. So let me go and promote this now. Add new, and this is going to be aniftech.com. okay, next, because we have to do this, even though I know that all other configuration will be later. In this video, I just want to show us how to promote our server, how to install server and promote it to a domain controller. So now let's see if we are able to just achieve that. And in my subsequent video, we are going to talk about managing your server, the initial configuration that has to be done, and all those things. Next. This is where it was showing red the last time, if you remember. If I'd known, I would have restarted my you can see, and it says all prerequisite checks passed successfully. So then you just need to click on install, and it's going to install this for us. So you know, when you are doing IT like I was doing, I never expected this problem to come. Yeah, you learn as you do it, you learn as you walk. So now I've learned another lesson, that when I change a server name, before promoting it to domain controller, I have to do my restart. I was trying to do everything together before doing my restart, but it just showed me that you can't. You need to have restarted it. It needs to have add its name before promoting it to a domain controller. So let's just wait for this to finish its thing, and then we are going to call it a day. And in my next video, subsequent video, we are now going to start working, or videos that I'll be doing from now will be videos where you are the network administrator of a company and you're managing the network. What do you have to do when there's a problem and all that? How do you give users access to printer? How do you install applications for users? How do you create username and password? How do you disable accounts? How do you control all those things? So that's what we are going to be. And you can see this server was successfully configured as a domain controller. That's all we need, and there's no yellow sign here. And how do you know? You go to tools, is restarting itself. You can see when you install a domain controller, your server would restart itself. So let's wait for it to be ready. And it's good to mention to you that when you start working anywhere you are going to be working, they would have installed their domain controller. they would have done everything. All you are going to be do is manage it. And when there is a problem, that's where it comes handy, when you know how to install it. So because you know how to install it, when there is a problem, when you see an error message, you can read, like I did. I read the error message I had, and I realized I needed to restart my computer. Yeah, and then all you need to do is read the error message. Because you understand it, you'll be able to fix the problem. And this is Good Policy Services trying to get ready. Because when you install Active ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services, now you are going to be using Good Policy. So Good Policy Service that you see it's doing now, that's what you are going to be using to manage bulk action. Say you want to give 10, 20, 1,000 people access to a folder. With Good Policy, you are going to be able to do that. Okay, you have 10,000 computers in your company and you don't want your users using an application. With Good Policy, you can block them. You don't want your users to go to control panel. With Good Policy, you can block them from accessing the control panel. Or not, with all those things. You remember when we were doing Windows 10, I showed you how users can manipulate their system. But in a work environment, in a production environment, you don't want your users doing that. You will lock them down to just those things you want them to be able to do. You don't give them so much privilege. You only give them privilege to do what they are required to do. And that's what we use DC, Domain Controller, to do. And while this is doing this, I think I'm getting tired of it, because I want to end this video so that the next video would be us looking at how can we manage our domain controller. I'll call it a day, and in my next video we're going to start initial configuration of our server. What do we have to do? And then I'll show you to the Active Directory Domain Services. Please like this video and subscribe, and let me know if you have any question. I will always check my comment and reply back to you. Thank you very much. Bye. God bless.